Because when I come to whatever city you in, baby, it's up. Apologizing in public when you embarrassed me in public. The things that I said to her, I would not say to my worst enemy. This is so hard. I young and in love. You don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear your man cheating on you. Hi guys, welcome back to another episode. That was so weird. I don't know what I was trying to do. That was so weird. Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Finessin Failure Podcast, where we're actually in season 3. I think I misspoke earlier and I said something about season 4. It might be in the works, but it is definitely season 3. And season 3 is built around my healing journey. And I've already talked to you guys mostly about why I'm doing this season, but I'm not going to go too far much into it because I really want to just get into the episode. As y'all know, these episodes are a lot shorter than the normal podcasts. And that's genuinely because I'm just trying to get my thoughts out. I'm trying to talk to you guys. And I'm also trying to challenge not only you, but me within this healing era. So the topic of today, I have all written down in my Notion. Y'all know I love Notion real bad. But the topic of today, I think we're going to go over 2 out of the 3 in this one. I think I'm going to double it up. So actually, we're just going to talk about friends today. Please ignore the fact that my phone is broken. We'll get her when we get her fixed. That's not a priority right now. She still works. I still love her down bad. So that's all that matters. Mwah, kisses. No, but apologizing in public when you embarrassed me in public. So that's the topic of today, but it's genuinely rooted in something that came up to me. Not even came up to me. Something that came to my mind as I was driving home. As I told y'all, that is a 9-hour drive, so I had a lot of time to sit back and think. So I have always been, and I like to think I've always been, a really, really good friend. Someone you can call when you're sad, when you're happy, when you want to be in a good mood, when you need that pump, when you want to go out. Maybe not so much now, like going out now, because I'm not even gonna cap to y'all. I don't be in the mix. I don't be in the scene. And that's just me. I think I did so much of that when I was in college, and I focused on that when I was in college, that now it's just like, why am I even out here? I'm about to be 30 years old. I'm about to be 28, but that's 28 closer to 30 than it is to 22. So I think that I've always valued myself as a good friend. I've always valued myself as someone that can be called on. And a lot of my friends would describe me as strong and reliable and resilient. And I love those words because they do describe me as a friend. They do describe me as someone that is, I can rely on this person, be reliable. But I have not had the best of luck with friends. And as I sat back and I started to reflect on all the friendships that I had from elementary school up until my somewhat adult years, there's been one person that has been my friend for almost 15 years now. We've been friends for over a decade, almost 2 decades. So this person can get anything about me. 15 years is a long time to have a genuine friend, someone who is there with you through thick and thin, someone who you can cry on, who you can cry to, someone who you can hold, someone who trusts you with their life, you trust them with theirs. I do not take friendship lightly, mostly because you shouldn't. To say that you are someone's friend or you are someone's best friend, your ace spoon coon, your A1 since day one. I got that girl back 2 flats on a Cadillac. Come on, like you gotta feel it. When I tell someone that they are my friend and I love them like they are my friend, I expect nothing but the best and you to have nothing but the best intentions behind me. So listen, I don't know if people are going to agree with me about some of the things that I say. I don't know if some of y'all are going to feel some type of way about what I'm going to say, but I am a firm believer in everyone deserves a good fucking friend. I am also a believer that in order to know how good of a friend you are, you have to be put in situations that test your friendship. You can't claim to have a best friend for 15, 20 years without having been tested. So There have been a couple of times where me and my best friend haven't spoken to each other, whether we will either admit it or not, due to the fact that we thought too much time went by without us seeing each other or without us talking to each other to still claim to be best friends. I like to think that I'm a very low maintenance friend, which pretty much means you don't have to call and check on me every single day. You don't have to text me until the sun goes down at nighttime. You don't have to be up in my face 24/7. A quick little text, hey, how you doing? Are you doing okay? Is good for me. Especially in my adult years where I'm working 55 to 60 hours a week. I don't need someone constantly like this. And some friendships are like that. And granted, I'm not going to lie, I envy the friendships that are like that sometimes, because I would love that. But I would only love it sometimes. Like people that do that all the time, like, that's concerning to me. Because at what point is it a healthy relationship versus an unhealthy attachment? But neither here nor there. I decided today that I was going to write out the amount of friends that I've gone through over the years and the lessons that I learned from those friendships. Let's rewind just a second. So, when I first got on the podcast, I said public apologies for public disrespect. So, I went through an incident where I lost a really good friend my freshman year in college. Mind you, we hadn't known each other that long. For those of y'all who know my story, I ended up moving high schools my senior year. I went to a small high school in a small town that probably no one has heard of except for the people that live there in surrounding areas in South Carolina. And I met some really good friends. I met specifically 3 really good women who were my friends there, and I talked to them almost every day, texted them almost every day, had a cute little group chat. But going off to college, lost contact with one of them, and me and the other girl, we were birthday twins. Could you imagine, like, Leo and Leo, Ace Boon Coon? That girl became one of my closest friends. I always thought she was super sweet. She had a significant other in high school where I was like some dude that I ain't had nobody talking to. But no, that doesn't matter. So, we ended up going to the same college together. We got accepted to the same college. We were super excited, and we decided to be roommates. Now, when people tell you you genuinely don't know who you are friends with until you move in with one another, that is very true. But I believe in this instance, because we were both growing up still, like we were 17, 18 years old. Fresh, and we were both still growing up, so we really didn't know like to live. Like, I knew what I liked, I knew what I didn't like, I knew I liked cleanliness, I knew that I didn't like food hanging out, I knew the simple stuff, but I didn't know like to live with another person 20 feet away from me in the same bedroom. But we were still really good friends the beginning of our freshman year, and then I like to think that something happened overnight. It has been brought to my attention that it was not overnight, and it was something that was consistently going on behind my back. And I have forgiven that person years ago for how they treated me, for they decided to disrespect me, for how they were not considerate of my feelings, for allowing their significant other to cross boundaries and disrespect me openly and not care and not correct them. All of that has been forgiven. I forgave that person behind, like, it being said years ago. Like, this happened in 2015. I forgave this person in like 2017. Like, there was no beef. There was no, like, when I saw this person on campus after they moved out of our dorm, it was like, oh, okay. But we just don't talk. And I shared a post on social media. I will most likely put the post somewhere in here. I shared the post on social media, and she ended up sharing the post because we're still friends on Facebook. She ended up sharing the post, and it was the beginning of an apology. Y'all, I literally almost cried because she wasn't the first person that had given me an apology for the way they treated me and the way that they had acted in the past, as we were still, again, young and growing. But for her to share a post publicly that not only my friends can see, but her friends can see, and we have some mutuals, for her to share my post and say like she really lost a good friend just from being young and just from not knowing any better, like, that touched my heart. Like, not even gonna lie, I don't think it could have been orchestrated any better, because obviously I didn't make the post for her to go and share and say, hey, I fucked up. No, I made the post to make it to, it was an awareness post for me becoming a content creator and me like my stuff. And like, this is the reason why people in South Carolina don't really make it, because y'all don't support when it's the girl from your high school, but you support everybody else and their mama. You don't like South Carolina. I always felt like have been some like low key crabs in a bucket for the longest period of time until that person pops. And then, oh my gosh, I knew them. Oh my gosh, girl, let's collab. Where was this sense of heart when I was posting and getting 2 likes? Huh? But anywho, here nor there. I think that the courage, the overall just like he has to have, not only for me but for herself, to post that publicly. You knew that other people were going to see this and you were okay with it. And not only that, after I had commented on it and you slid in my DMs and you sent me this you sent me this heartfelt message. And I felt bad because you, as my friend, thought that I hated you because of the situation. One, we were kids. Like, anything that happened to us when we were 18, 19, 20 years old, we were still figuring it out. We were still figuring out how to be a friend. We're still figuring out how to be an adult, how to be a college student. Hell, I don't blame anyone for making a mistake or allowing certain things to happen when we're still growing up. Now, looking back, if I knew everything that I know now, and I knew that at 18 and 19 years old, of course I would have been pissed. I would have been mad. I would have still been mad because you knew better and you chose not to do better. But we were kids when those things happened. And did I hold some resentment because I lost a good friend? Yes. And was I confused when I lost that good friend? Absolutely. Because in my mind, she just was letting this person disrespect me. She was disrespecting me, and I thought we were cool. We were locked in. That was my girl. But going back and looking at it and having the full picture and the full story, even after I forgave her a year or two after the fact, I now understand so much more than I did back then. Thank you for being a woman about the situation. Thank you for taking my feelings into account about the situation. Thank you for being the first one to reach out and apologize, i.e., you know what we both said, you know how you felt, you know how I felt now. And I love that we both are adults enough to have come to, and I won't even say an agreement, just come to the same understanding about where we were and where we are now. Because when I come to whatever city you in, baby, it's up, because you my birthday twin and you my girl for life. So I don't ever want you to think like I hate you. I can't, because again, we were kids when all of that happened. And I'm just so happy that I was able to be friends with someone and watch them grow throughout the portion that I knew you, and now see that you're such a respectful and self-aware person. Like, what else did I ask for? I do want my friend back. I do value you, and I do value I value your opinions. And I remember some of our conversations like yesterday. But I genuinely want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for being the woman you are and talking to me about it and doing so publicly, because that right there, you don't see every day. So I love you down real bad, boo. Always. Now, we are not going to cover every other relationship that I have had that fell ill, but I am going to go over like the list, and I'm going to tell you guys why we fell out and what happened. So I do have 2 other people on this list, that maybe 3. I have to go back and look. Yeah. Like maybe people on this list that have talked to me since we become adults, after a falling out or after we stopped talking, whatever the case may be. But if you did someone wrong and you have up and you look back at the situation and you still don't think that you did wrong or that you were wrong, take a look at the situation from someone else's perspective. Because I'm not going to say that I was the perfect friend for every person that was in my life, because I'm not going to lie, I wasn't. Now, there were a lot of things that I would do for people. There were a lot of things that I would be the shirt off my back. I think that I was ever a horrible friend. I may not have been the most emotional friend, but I was always a good friend. So Me and another one of my high school best friends, we ended up falling out about a boy. Y'all don't get me started. I already know what y'all gonna say. We were in high school, we were in college, like it was stupid. I owe that person an apology because of the way I treated her after the fact. Because one, didn't have to tell me. Two, that person never a significant other of mine. That was just somebody like I was with talking to, and in my delusional mind, like we were gonna be together. Obviously, it didn't happen that way, and thank the Lord, because like I thought I was blessed. The Lord had other things for me, so there was that. But we ended up falling out about this person, and the things that I said to this woman, I remember it like it was yesterday. I remember she called me. And I was at a car wash for some type of function I was doing for school. And I was like, hey, I can't really talk right now, but like, what's going on? And I sat in my friend's car to have the conversation with her. And the things that I said to her, I would not say to my worst enemy. And they came from a place where I was hurt and I was like disappointed, but I also felt disrespected. And they came from a place of anger and not understanding. And again, being 18, 19 years old, when your closest friend is doing something to you that you would not even do to your worst enemy, like that to me was disrespectful. And that does not make it right for anything that I said on the phone that day, nor anything that I did to her after the fact, nor anything that this is so hard. I challenge to think about their past friendships and think about what you as a person did in that situation, and come to terms with them, because it can only make you a better person. Nor did she deserve any of what I did after the fact by being a bad friend on purpose because I was hurt. There was times that we talked after that where she was like venting to me about that situation, and I just didn't give a fuck. Truthfully, I didn't care what she had going on. I didn't care if her feelings was hurt. Me as a friend, I didn't care because I was hurt. And nothing that she said was gonna like make me feel any better. And I don't really recall what happened. I just know that we just stopped talking. But mind you, this was someone that I called my ace boon coon. This was somebody that I called my best friend. This is someone that used to spend this like summer days when she wasn't working and I wasn't working. This is someone that I talked to every single day. This is someone that I told my deepest, darkest secrets to. And that's how I chose to treat that friend. My best. So, part two, looking back at everything that I did to that person and becoming who I never thought I would be to that person, I owe that person an apology. And obviously we talked about it and we have made amends a while ago, but I am now in a much better space to apologize for real. My apology, I really did mean it. And what I said to you, I really did mean it. But I think that as a grown woman now, looking back at that situation, looking back at all of that stuff, I genuinely feel like I lost a really good friend for a really bad reason. And me stubborn, child, that Leo in me being and me thinking that I knew better, and me thinking, oh, that girl's replaceable. Like, I can find two other friends. Like, I don't need her on a day-to-day basis. That thought ran through my mind every time I wanted to call you, every time I wanted to text you, every time that I had something big come up and I wanted to share it with you. Oh, we're not talking for real right now. And that is so immature. And I hate that I thought that way. And obviously I don't think that way anymore. But the apology that I owe you is still owed. And I am sorry. And I hate that I ruined a good friendship over a nigga, of all things. Like, first of all, both of us are baddies. Let's start there. Both of us are baddies. There are a billion niggas in the world. And I ruined a friendship over one instead of letting you learn whatever lesson that the Lord was calling you to learn. So that is friend number 2. Y'all don't have to give me a second because this is wow. Hold on. I'm so glad the candle already lit. Girl, I'll you down bad. And that's the thing I wanted to say. Like, if the people out there that you built a bond with and that you started like picturing how the rest of your life would look with this person, whether it's a significant other or a friend, there's no way it's storming outside. I genuinely feel like you need to rethink the emotions and rethink the people that are in your life and what you can do better in order to be a good person or a good friend. So I know those both were super long-winded. I do apologize. So we're going to go through, actually I have one more long one, and then we're going to go through like the small ones. The next person I actually didn't become friends with until college. And I actually met her years before in a trio event. Shout out to any of the people from South Carolina that was with the trio group. Phenomenal program. They still have that program around. If they don't, tell me how much money y'all need a year so I can go ahead and get that program back started, because you really do build connections with people and you learn so much other stuff. Shout out to Craig Bryant, who was our trio mentor. Phenomenal man, who the first person that introduced me into the Q Dogs of the world. If y'all know, y'all know. Here nor there. I met this person years prior in a trio program, and then we met again my freshman year in college. Now, my freshman year in college was such a wild time because literally all I did was drink and party and have a good time and go to class like 10% of this. I don't even know how your girl made it to sophomore year. But I met this person my senior. Why do I keep saying senior? So I met this person my freshman year. Like, we started hanging out. We got really cool. And between freshman year and sophomore year, we were really like, we were like, wasn't going nowhere without her. She might have pulled up to the calf without me a couple times, but no issue, no problems. That was always my girl. I loved her down bad. But we also had a falling out. And I genuinely think that the falling out was really a misunderstanding. Either that or I was just being really stubborn. So I will explain it to the best of my ability. So y'all know, after sophomore year, like, I dropped out. I dropped out of college because, one, it was super expensive and I could like barely afford it. Two, I could not see myself continuing. I had gotten my own apartment. I had gotten a part-time job. And for those of y'all who are out there that are thinking about getting a part-time job and an apartment, obviously I would just recommend staying on camp, because what do you need your own place for? You're still living, you're still learning. You don't need to be contracting no more bills, babe. Stay on camp, stay focused in school, finish that degree. That's all I'm gonna say about that. But I ended up like dropping out and I started working like full time. So I was working anywhere between 40-50 hours a week. I had gotten my own car. Granted, it wasn't like no brand new car, nothing. It was like a little hoop, but it was my hoopty. And I really started like living an individual versus like living around so like whenever they wanted to hang out, I would be at work. Also I had a man. That's actually really important for this story. So this is uncomfortable. So I had a man. We're not gonna talk about him at all. Just know that he was there and whatever. But during this time period, we were together, but I spent more time obviously with my man, because that's my man. And at work, I did like spending time with my friends, and I did not make time for them. And it's not because they didn't ask. It's not because they didn't have for me. It's because I claimed to have time. I had time. I chose to do other things with that time. I chose to spend time with my friends. I chose to not go to parties. I chose to not go out. I chose to pretend I was a housewife instead of living in my 20s.
You're 20. If I had 20 back, oh, what a mess I'd make. 20 is for you. 20 is for growth. 20 is for the pursuit of a tomorrow that is better than today. 20 is for options. 20 is for passion and knowledge and enjoyment. 20 is for firing dudes when they don't act right.
Those were the things that I chose to do. And at this point, I was like 19 going on years old. So I don't know what was going on up here. That man had me up. Okay, neither here nor though. Yeah, but we outgrow, or I don't even want to use the word outgrow. I think we genuinely started to distance ourselves from each other, or I started distancing myself from them. And I think that one of the main reasons that I distanced myself from that group, or those two women who were very influential in my life and made me want to do better, was because the person that I was with, this is so ironic, the person that I was with was not faithful to me. He was not listening to me at all whatsoever. And they kept trying to tell me, and you know, you young and in love. You don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear your man cheating on you. You don't want to hear the person that you laying in the bed at night don't got your back. Like, you don't want to hear none of that. So, yeah, it was kind of weird for me to hear that from my friends. And I won't even sit here and think like or say that I thought that they were hating. I genuinely knew they were telling the truth, but it wasn't a truth that I wanted to hear. Y'all feel me? Picking up what I'm putting down. So I started distancing myself from them because I'm like, oh, y'all just don't like him. Y'all just want me to be happy. Even though in my mind I knew, like, girl, that phone 4 o'clock in the morning. He out till 5 o'clock in the morning. He taking your car to go. We ain't gonna go there. That's another thing that I've healed from already. So we're not gonna. But I stopped showing up for them. I stopped showing up to be around them. I stopped being a friend. The girl that took me to Myrtle Beach to drop me off to work every single day when I had to work at Ross and I had no car. To the girl that stayed up late with me studying. When I say this, I mean pretending to study. The girl was knocked out. To the girl who really helped me get through a lot of like mental shit in college life, in my family. Like, I genuinely love you. I will never lose love for you, and I will never lose anything that we have. And I love that we can still reach out to one another and talk to each other, because it was my that we got distant and lost that time. And it was my fault that I didn't reach out to you, and I thought that I was owed an apology. And the whole time, y'all were right. I just wanted to come on here and tell you how much I love you and how much I respect you for showing up for me, even when I had no idea what I was doing. And that's what you call a real friend. So as I sit here and reflect on some of the biggest relationships that I've ever had, and thinking about like being in college and I lost some of my friends and things like that, there are definitely some more people on the list, but I have already taken up a lot of time. And on this episode, the question for the end of this episode is, looking back at all of your past relationships, all of your past friends, think about how the relationships ended. Think about whether you may owe someone an apology, whether you may not think that you did anything wrong. View it from a different perspective. And reach out to the person. Now, obviously, like, if that person is deep down grimy, like, you probably don't want to talk to that person. But in my situation with the people that I ended up, like, not being friends with longer, a lot of those situations were so small and so petty that a quick conversation really could have fixed that and we could have moved on. But because we were, like I said, so young, all this happened within a 2-year time span for me as well. I just thought that I had like bad luck with friends. And I remember one of my friends saying, and you wonder why you don't have friends. It's not them, it's you. And for a long time, I thought, like, am I just not enough to have good friends? Am I not a good friend myself? Am I allowing situations fester instead of solving those situations? Being somewhat non-confrontational, probably some of my biggest regrets in life. But I am a very big believer in everything happens for a reason, and I had to grow through those situations. And now that I'm grown, I get to sit back and look at those situations and think, like, what was I doing? As always, with much love, much appreciation, I will see you guys on the next episode of the Finessin Failure Podcast. And I also hope to see you guys healing in the comments as well. Bye.